Now, what you're seeing in front of you is one of the very dominant and well-established CAT solution in the market, and this is offered by CaseWare Analytics, specifically called IDEA. It's a very user-friendly technology. Allows you to import data sets regardless of the size into an application where you can perform analytics as well as apply your audit principles and controls to look for various exception generating lists, which the application is capable of doing. But in these type of tools, specifically in IDEA, you're able to actually use audit-specific techniques where we actually have an integration of Benford's law. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to import data into IDEA. It's very simple. I just say, hey, I want to actually import say an Excel file. I pull in the Excel file that I want to bring in. And then I say, let's bring that in. The first row represents field names, and then we'll standardize and say any empty numerical cells, set it as 0 and bring that in. And we'll bring that into the software. So once that's into the software, you can see this is a very standard, this is a small file, but we could bring in 100,000, a million, 10 million records. It's not a problem. We're just showing this on a small file for the demo purpose. So I brought in a transactional file which has the transaction numbers, vendor ID, the type of transaction, when it occurred, who approved it, and the amount. And I'm also going to take the time to bring in our vendor master file as well. Just done very simply here, and we'll call this vendor master, and bring that in. And you can see it takes a couple of seconds, if not nanoseconds, to bring this in. It's super fast, very easy to do, very easy to use. Many of you that might be using various different type of tools such as Excel, you might have a hard time sometimes being able to relate the vendor number between two transactional files unless you do VLOOKUP, complex VLOOKUP equations. In IDEA, it's actually quite simple. We would simply just go under analysis, join, and say, hey, look at this master file. And sorry, let's take a look at this master file and then join them together. Sorry, let me just go here. Select our join file and then match it to our vendor master file, and then we would select the related component between the two files. In this case, we'll say it's the vendor number, and then we could easily say if it's matches only, or are we looking for where there are invoices but no vendor information, vice versa. We'll say all records in primary right now. I'm just doing a quick relations before I could do the Benford's test, just to show you the type of analysis we could perform very quickly. That's a very simple thing. What I wanted to show here is if you have hundreds of millions of records or millions of records at a time, you're not going to manually look for, say, approvals for various different threshold levels. In this application itself is actually quite straightforward to just actually go under here and say, hey, we want to do a quick extraction for amounts greater or equal to, say, 5,000, and where the approval limit or where the approval field is empty. So look for those variables, and we could do multiple extractions in one pass. Click OK, and you could see that these transactions received processing without the approval. Because it was over $5,000, they didn't receive the right approvals, but yet they were processed. You might want to look into that. Now, before I go any further, just want to show you how you could actually apply the use of Benford's law on this set of transactions as well. CaseWare Analytics has a very comprehensive set of Benford's tests built in. You have the first digit, first two digit, first three digit, fraud detection, and looking for anomalies and potential fraud, second digit, last two digits, second order test, and summation test. We'll do, say, the first two digits on this data and say generate the exceptions. And you can see as Sundar explained throughout the presentation, the various different distributions of the numbers on the data, you can see that number 1 typically has the highest yield because majority of the transactions actually start with a leading digit number 1. So on and so forth, where number 9 has less than 5% of the population typically. Now, if we actually go here on the second digit test, you'll see that actually this, the IDEA software actually intuitively tells you there are suspicious databases that you might want to look into. Let's take a look at the 4-9. If you actually take a look at, remember how I mentioned any transactions over $5,000 requires a approval? You can see that this individual is actually processing transactions actually a penny under, so being under the radar, but doing it on a daily basis. And Benford was quite effective in pulling out this anomaly, but IDEA was actually generous enough to actually tell you that based on the Benford's law distribution, this database, something does not align up properly. There might be potential anomalies that you want to take into consideration and take a look. And we allow you to actually drill down and review the suspicious transactions and continue on with your analysis.